Hi guys, I hope that you are doing well. And actually, I apologize for my voice because I've been sick for quite some time already. My son brought a terrible cold from daycare, and here I am. I'm actually drinking Theraflu as I'm recording this. And I do have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Justyna. Hi, Justyna.
Hi, Anna. Thank you for
So,
having me.
yeah. So, as you probably, a lot of you know, she's an astrologer on YouTube, and we connected on YouTube, and we've got quite a lot in common. And the very first thing that we have in common is our moon sign. Our moon sign is in Leo. So when I was talking to Justyna and we started connecting, we realized how much we have in common, and we're both mothers as well. And we decided to come up with this video for you guys, just talking about the moon sign and motherhood, how it relates to motherhood. I would love, for Justyna to talk about it a lot more on my channel and introduce herself to my audience, because I think your channel is amazing. I love the aesthetics, I love how informative it is. So we will definitely talk about that today. So Justyna, of course, I would like to introduce you a little bit more to my audience. So how did you get into astrology?
So I got into astrology during my Saturn return, which is actually quite a common theme when we kind of try to understand ourselves on a deeper level. And oftentimes, well, this is a time when we kind of move into a very different phase in life, more mature. And during that time, I felt I went through a lot of changes, life changes, and at the same time, I felt really lost. And I was trying to understand myself, learn about myself on a deeper level, and that's how I found astrology and
Right.
a birth chart, and I started to interpret that, and I got really hooked and obsessed.
Right. I started learning astrology when I was like 26, 27. And this is when I think the reversal of the nodes happens,
Mm-hmm.
before Saturn return. And this is when I had all kinds of stuff happening where I felt like I needed to, I needed to find a different answer. So this
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, this is when and it's interesting because a lot of astrologers, like, once they hit that Saturn return, this is when they find all the answers, and this is when they find the guidance. It's really interesting how it works. It's almost like this pattern, with a lot of astrologers, like an astrological event gets triggered, and this is how they are drawn to astrology.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you are a mother of two beautiful girls. Have you been able to use astrology to like help understand your children better?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I actually started to kind of learn a lot about astrology when I had my children, and then having this being able to kind of look into their chart and understand them. I think as babies, maybe kind of I did use it quite a bit to see what they would be like, but I think as they grew older, it really helped me to understand certain behavioral patterns or certain interests and so on. So it was actually a very, very helpful tool to kind of explore their chart over the last few years. Now I know most of their placements by heart, and whenever kind of oftentimes when they behave in a certain way, or when they kind of become interested in particular topics, then it kind of, I can always kind of trying to see, oh, where was that in the chart? So
Right.
it's no, it's really, really fascinating. Yes.
I and I shouldn't have done that, and I don't think anybody should do that. I was in the postpartum unit in the hospital, and I looked up my son's chart, and you just gave birth like a few hours ago.
Mhm.
That's not what you should be focusing on, and I was like freaking out over different placements there and aspects and stuff like that, because like if I just saw that chart on someone else, that's a different feeling, but this
Mhm.
is my son, so I'm like, oh my god. And it made my postpartum journey a little bit, I feel like, more difficult, because I was always so fixated on his chart. And that's why it's like I needed to learn how to do that in moderation, I guess, and not apply that strongly to like my life. But yeah, I do not recommend that. You know, if somebody gives birth and decides to same day check their son's chart or daughter's chart, I do not recommend that. You know, and so obviously you've seen your children's moon signs. What are your thoughts on how your children view you through their moon signs? Because they're very
So
different, right?
yes, and you know, it's so interesting because you can have like 2 or 3 children, four, whatever, and then they oftentimes they have very different moon signs. And the same with myself and my sister as well. We've got very different moon signs. There's a big gap. So we behave differently with well, each child very often, because it very much depends on the child's personality. So actually my daughters have opposing signs. So one has the moon in Aries, and the other one the moon in Libra. So very different energies, very opposing energies. They're both very competitive as well, two sisters. But here, when well, with the moon in Libra, I thought, oh, this is, you know, I'm always kind of seeking harmony, balance. My daughter is slightly rebellious, so I always try to kind of teach her how to
Aries
kind of.
Moon one is rebellious, right? The Aries Moon one.
Oh, no, well, they are actually the Libra one. The moon in Aries is rebellious. She's still little, but she's definitely headstrong and very organized, very quick. But then the one with the moon in Libra, she's got she can be also her sun is in Taurus, so she can be stubborn and quite well, rebellious. And I think so basically, because you would think, oh, the moon in Libra, I think at some point in her life she will be more harmonious. But I think the way the children also see us, so basically if she's rebellious, I try to kind of seek more balance and harmony in her personality and help her to build up positive relationships with others if she struggles with certain friendships. So she sees me as this person who perhaps likes this harmony in life. So this is the way I kind of see it. It's not oftentimes what we are, but how we are perceived by them because of their behavioral patterns, because of their personalities. While the other child, she's got a stellium in Aries and Pisces, and she's very quick with kind of she's very organized and she's very quick. But there are times when she likes to take her time, especially in the morning, when she doesn't want to wake up for school or get ready for her breakfast. And at that point, I'm stressed because I need to take them to school and I become impatient. So she sees me as an impatient mom, you know, because the moon in Aries, impatient. And so so it's quite interesting. So obviously when I first saw that moon in Aries, I was like, oh, I don't want to be a selfish mom, you know. You see it in a negative way, but it's not like that. It's not like that. It's basically so it's well, on one side it's good to know these archetypes, because then we avoid these tendencies. We don't want to fall into these tendencies of being
Yeah.
well, yeah. So
It's good to check that moon sign of your child, because especially up until the age of 7, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's the sign that they go by, you know, and you have to really not watch it necessarily, but you should be able to know how to go along with that energy. And my son's moon sign is in Virgo, and I don't have any Virgo placements. Well, I do have a south node in Virgo, and I do have my descendant, you know, in Virgo. My 7th house is in Virgo, and I'm afraid to come up critical to him, you know, that I'm critical, because I am very self-critical. And you know, I'm also kind of critical in relationships, you know, because like Virgo descendant, you know,
of course, yes.
I am, yeah, and can help that. I mean, I'm trying, you know, to obviously learn to not be so critical, but I do have that about me, and I do have the judgmental streak about me as well. And you know, I'm always like, oh no, I hope he doesn't see me as critical, that I criticize everything that, you know, he does or whatever. I hope he doesn't see me as judgmental. But as long as I think we're aware of it, right, and we can work with that energy, hopefully, he'll be seeing me as someone that, cares for everything that he needs and makes sure that, I provide for all those needs and so on. Plus, Virgo Moon isn't maybe the most nurturing, right? But emotionally, but my mom raised me in a not very nurturing way, in a good way, just not in a very emotionally connected way. And same goes for her mom. She also raised my mom in a less nurturing way. So I'm trying to get that in order, and make sure that I do give him that emotional connection. I do give him that nurturing. That we just when you're raised a certain way, you don't know how to do it, kind of. You
Yes.
don't know how to give it. So that's a big journey for me as well to do it. And I think it's natural for me. I think I'm actually way more nurturing than women in my family. Women in my family are very like strict and kind of logical, and but me, I'm trying a different direction. But yeah, so I think that leads us to talking about all 12 signs. We will have timestamps in the description box and in the comment section, so you can click on the moon sign of you or your child, so you can basically get straight to the point. So Justyna, what do you think? Well, we just talked about Aries Moon briefly because it's your personal experience, but what else could you add about Aries Moon in a child's chart, or Aries Moon in a mother's chart maybe? How do you think those things manifest?
The moon in Aries, the moon in Aries may struggle with patience. And on one side, they can kind of have an instant temper. So they may get upset or angry or impulsive suddenly. But on the other hand, they quickly forget.
Oh, yeah.
So that's yes. So I've kind of seen it in my daughter's example, that maybe something will upset her, but she will quickly forget and move on into the next activity, whatever else that she wants to do.
The
So
cardinal energy, like a switch. Yeah.
Action oriented, definitely action oriented here with the cardinal energy, and also the Mars, the ruler, so very passionate as well, demanding and straightforward. And there's also a very strong sense of self here with this placement. So here I'm kind of teaching my daughter to make sure that she shares and takes other kind of children into consideration when kind of having a snack, for example. But she's actually really good at that. So, but that's a bonus. But overall, they can also kind of the Arian energy, the moon in Aries, can also assert themselves well. And overall, they can find a way to kind of meet their emotional needs.
Right. Yeah. And what do you think about mother? Like how the child with Aries Moon views their mother? Because I know that you did get worried when you saw that,
Yeah. So, well, I think the mother might be, not even talking about myself, but in general, the mother might be one who also kind of makes sure that the child is confident, so builds up this self-confidence in the child. And there's also a lot of kind of physicality, so physical activity. This is a very active sign. So there's a lot of kind of movement, action here with this placement. But overall, the mother wants the child to be courageous, wants the child to be confident, driven. And the child also wants to be noticed for their achievements. So
yeah. And I guess I would say maybe advice for a person that has a God, my voice is just getting worse and worse. It's not even like it's just the beginning of the day. I think advice for the mother that has a Aries Moon child would probably be to kind of remain patient with them, right?
absolutely.
And yeah, Aries Moon people, I feel like sometimes they view their moms and as these like achievers, and usually their moms are very independent, and um, they kind of don't need anybody, they can do it all.
Hmm.
And but on the other hand, sometimes obviously like a little bit of a snippy mother, angry mother, right? Like conflictual and a short fuse type.
Yeah, short
I'm surprised my son doesn't have Aries Moon. I'm joking. But I mean, I'm a Taurus, and it's like a slow buildup. And then, if you really piss me off, and oh gosh. But yeah, it's like I think that, yeah, on the negative side, maybe they could view their mother as aggressive. But overall, I think it's good when a person has this moon sign and they are into different physical activities, and they are pretty like ambitious in life, and they're always on the go go go. I feel like that can relate very well to the child.
Yes, and actually, I just wanted to add something because Aries is obviously the first sign of the zodiac. So also the moon in Aries is also kind of keen to start something new, something fresh. They kind of thrive when they are involved in some startup activities, or the beginning of a project. So they like starting new things and experiencing new things as well. And as you said, independence, that's really huge. Independence and freedom as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure. Now moving on to Taurus Moon. What do you think?
So Taurus, a fixed sign. So the first thing, well, Taurus is very much connected to stability and security. These are very important elements. And this stability and security, oftentimes the moon in Taurus finds either in the material world or in spiritual things. Now, since this is a fixed sign, oftentimes there could be resistance to change. There could be stubbornness as well, or perhaps people with this placement might be kind of fixed with an idea, with a habit, even a routine, and it might be difficult to modify it or change it. So I think the challenge here with this placement is to kind of be flexible and adaptable throughout life, especially when it comes to trying something new, going through some changes. And it might be also difficult to let go because they might be very much attached to things. Obviously, with that resistance to change, it might be difficult to kind of let go of material objects or some possessions, for instance. And Taurus also, well, very patient. So that's very positive, a patient sign. But also Taurus doesn't like to be rushed or hurried. So here you need to allow children with displacements to kind of take their time because they work at their own pace. If they are rushed, they are not going to get the right results, or you're not going to see the right outcomes. There could be frustration. So here again, patience, especially here if you have kind of strong Aries in your chart.
Yeah, for sure. And their mother, usually, you think of Taurus, you think of cooking, you think of something like nice and kind of nurturing, I guess. But all the Taurus moon people that I meet, they don't really describe their moms as someone that's a great cook and someone that's super nurturing. They usually describe their moms as someone that is pretty stable, very set in their beliefs and patterns, and fixed kind of. And usually there's either stability in the childhood of a child, because the mom is able to provide, is able to create that secure environment for the child, or vice versa, right? Like depending on the aspects to the moon, obviously the person grows up understanding certain values, needing to have those values, needing to have money because they were kind of robbed off of that in childhood. You wouldn't really think that with Taurus moon, but because it's a financial sign, and depending on the aspects to the moon, it can sometimes play out as lack of stability, in the childhood. Yeah, what do you think? How do you think they view their mom?
So I think also there is a strong attachment to tradition.
Oh yes,
So perhaps a child growing up well, a child with a moon in Aries, there could be a lot of kind of attachment to tradition, or, you know, traditional Christmas, traditional festivities or events. So the mother might have been very much kind of, you know, follow the family traditions and customs and yeah, this
Very
sort of
set in
things.
her ways. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that here, obviously, stability, security played an important role, and perhaps being self-reliant, perhaps these kind of values were taught during their upbringing, to be self-reliant and financially perhaps independent, because Taurus is connected to the second house traditionally, and here this is about self-reliance, security, stability, financial. So here, now sometimes Taurus moon might have their emotions repressed, and they might find it even difficult to kind of verbally express their emotions at times, especially if that wasn't something that was kind of developed during their upbringing. Then this could be also prominent here with this placement.
Okay, so let's move on to Gemini Moon now. I'm actually also surprised that my son doesn't have Gemini Moon, even though his moon is Mercury ruled, you know, in Virgo. But I'm very much Mercury ruled based on my chart. So I was like, wow, you know, I honestly thought that he would have like a Gemini Moon or something. Let's talk about Gemini Moon.
So, well, Gemini is a dual sign. So there is that duality that will go through life. So oftentimes here, there's a lot about the intellect as well. So people with this placement might distrust their intellect and, might distrust their emotions and follow their intellect, their rational thinking. But at the same time, there could be this kind of being in two minds, in two different minds about certain ideas, relationships, whatever it is, emotionally with this placement. Throughout life, there could be kind of a struggle between deciding what's best, or perhaps people with this placement might have to choose between two different paths as well. So there is that duality that comes here with this placement. Now, at the same time, Gemini is connected to youth. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So oftentimes people with this placement feel always, they are young, they feel young, regardless of their age. So that's also something quite a common theme here. Well, when it comes to the upbringing of this placement, there could have been a lot of movement, a lot of traveling, a lot of communication. So generally, the mother could have placed a big role on communication, exchange of information. Perhaps there were a lot of kind of newspapers or around the house, magazines, or the radio. Perhaps the radio was often on. So generally, all types of communication played an important role throughout the upbringing. Now, there could have been also lots of changes here. This is also changeable energy here with Gemini, mental stimulation. And people also with this placement might prefer to discuss their feelings rather than experience them, if this makes sense.
Right. That does. My mom has this placement, and you know, she's very like educated, you know, she has so many books, she knows history very well, like geography, you know, she knows all of that. And it's like she's very young at heart, you know, even though, you know, she's basically retiring at this point, but she's very young at heart. She loves to dance, she loves to have fun, you know. Me, like back when I was in college, yeah, I partied, you know, I've gone to like clubs, whatever. My mom still goes to clubs.
There you go. She feels young, regardless of the
with
age.
her husband. And it's like, you know, and they were also laughing about it. They're like, well, you know, just like literally maybe 3 years ago, we stopped going to all these dance parties and, you know, clubs and all of that stuff. Obviously, I'm not talking about a club where you'll have like all the 21-year-olds, you know what I mean? More like a dance club / disco type places, you know, but they love that. And her husband is a Gemini sun, she's a Gemini moon. So here we go. You know, all that entertainment and youthful energies. what else can I say? I feel like also, you know, Gemini Moon, like the mother, may not be the most emotionally nurturing type, but it is the type that's gonna give you the knowledge, the education,
Mm,
everything that you need to kind of start your life in a more, I don't know, like intellectual path in
yes.
some way.
Yeah.
They're usually they're kind of all over the place, you know, because they learn all these different things one by
Mm-hmm.
one, you know, little bit of everything, but yet they gather pretty good knowledge overall. So yeah, Gemini Moon is really nice. What do you think the advice would be for Gemini Moon people, either with that placement or a mother that has a Gemini Moon son, child? Oh my
Yes,
gosh,
so I think that what the child wants is a mother who is playful,
for sure.
playful, and who wants to do all sort of games, children's games with their child. So I think that's what the child also would
Right.
really enjoy and seek in their mother. So this playfulness and playing all this, get involved in different kind of activities and versatility. So let the child kind of try all um, you know a variety of activities or sports until they truly discover what they want to do for
Yeah. Like learning a different language together, reading books and stuff. You know, my
mm,
mom read a tons of books to me, you know, when I was a child and taught me a lot of stuff quite early. I guess I don't know if it's connected to her Gemini moon or not, but she liked that, you know. So yeah.
mm.
So Cancer now. You're a Cancer sun. So you probably know a lot about Cancer placement. Um,
Yes. I'm Cancer Sun and Mars and
Oh,
Mercury.
me too. I'm a Mars in Cancer. That's a horrible
Mm.
placement, by
I
the way.
know, I know. I agree. It's kind of destroys that beautiful energy of Cancer, doesn't it?
And you know what's funny too? My Mars is opposing Uranus, opposing Neptune, and opposing Saturn. I have the worst Mars, like
Oh,
literally the worst Mars. And it's in the
mine.
fourth house in
Oh,
Placidus. Yeah.
I mine squares Jupiter. Mine squares
Okay.
Jupiter. Yeah.
Well, compared to Uranus or Neptune, you know, I feel like Jupiter is a little bit lighter, but still it's a square.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
all right.
Well, it's not. Yeah. So it's kind of need to look at the positive, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I feel like after 30, those aspects get a little bit softer, you
I
know,
agree with you,
Mars
definitely.
matures. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Cancer Moon. What do you have to say about Cancer Moon?
Okay, so here, Cancer Moon, my husband actually has Cancer Moon.
So does mine.
Oh, really? But
Yeah.
his Cancer Moon is in the 12th house, so it's a slightly
Okay.
hidden. The emotions are hidden.
My husband's
Um,
moon is in the 11th house.
all
So,
right.
yeah.
Cancer Moon well, it's definitely emotional, but they might not always show it. Might not always be obvious. It depends on the house placement. But also Cancer Moon, well, and I will say it openly because I've got 3 placements in Cancer. Cancers can be moody.
Yeah.
Cancers can be moody. The moon, ruled by the moon, changeable energy. So here the emotions are very changeable. So, and also, well, depending where the moon is placed, but oftentimes with the moon in Cancer, you can see the emotions on their face. So you can kind of recognize. Do you have that as well with the 11th
Yeah,
house moon?
I would
Yeah.
say.
So you can see when they're upset, when they are in a good mood. I notice it instantly. And I always question that because of obviously with Cancer. So I like to talk about the emotions and feelings. But here, Cancer moon clings to the past. Here the moon is connected to the past. So there could be also kind of like throughout life, they might kind of get back into their past, their childhood kind of review, or get back into their kind of old memories or pictures. So there could be also that they find this emotional nourishment by being also surrounded by objects that kind of increase their emotional safety and security. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend in high school, and he was a Capricorn, and his moon sign was in Cancer.
Oh,
So
that's what my husband is, exactly the same.
yeah, he told me, and he would collect all these different little things, sentimental things. I never cared about that stuff, you know. Like I don't know. I don't really have, I guess, the most emotional chart, but you know, he did, and I was always like, that's so interesting because you know, Capricorn exterior is so non-emotional, you know.
Mm.
But then he would collect all these, I don't know, like memories in a form of small objects, like I don't know, a wrapper from candy from our first date. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That kind of
very
stuff.
romantic.
Very,
Mm.
very cringy, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, and Cancer moons also, like for my husband, you know, he has his moon in the 11th house, and he's kind of like that person that everybody wants to talk to. Basically everybody wants to just sit on his ears and talk and
Oh,
pour all their
definitely.
problems onto him
Mm.
because he's so friendly, you know, he's so like
Yes.
welcoming and open, and they're all basically, and I've asked him before, you know, I'm like, wow, these people, they're sucking your energy out, how do you feel after? He's like, I'm drained, you know, but he's like, I
Mm.
don't really know how to, you know. And sometimes with Cancer moon, um you, like you said, you know, their emotions can be sometimes hidden, so they can be very nice and very friendly to you, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't quite tell, is it just the exterior or are they actually, you know, feeling that way. Yeah, so what do
Yes.
you think
So
about the Cancer moon as a mom, or how do they view their mom? Because I've got some mixed results with this one.
yes, I think it highly, because the moon is one of the most important planets in astrology in the birth chart. So we really need to look at the aspects as well when it comes to the moon, the sun. These are important placements, and also the house placement, because the moon in the 12th house will be very different to the moon in the 5th house. Now here, yes, so I think what the child wants, it's nourishment, is nurturing, and someone who will help them to understand their emotions, because it's all about emotions and feelings. So here, having we're having a mother who will kind of help the child to deal with the emotions as well and understand them. So that's and recognize them as well. So here, Cancer's moon wants to be needed and wanted.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Now, Cancer moon might also if they get upset, they might not even tell you about it, but they might kind of close up in their shell and withdraw and need time to kind of recharge their energies. And this is the same, like, as you said, people might come to people with displacement with lots of problems, and they are like sponge. But then they will need this. So I think Cancer moon needs their time to recharge because they get drained. And it's a water sign, emotional sign, so deep emotions. And generally, they also don't let go easily. They are also very clingy here, Cancer, because it's a sign of kind of they get attached also. There's this attachment, and as we said earlier, to objects, but it also could be to people, to places. Now here with this placement, so there's this need for emotional safety, emotional security, and I think that's what the child needs. The child needs a home that will be emotionally safe and secure, because otherwise this might, if there is chaos, if there is lack of nurturing or difficult kind of upbringing, then it will definitely affect their emotions very deeply.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes I'm very careful with what I say to Cancer moons because while, you know, regardless of um, how they act, you know, their emotional state is very vulnerable because of Cancer. And it's like you need to be careful with what you say to them. If you're trying to offend them purposely, or whatever else, you have to be very careful to not hurt their feelings, because their feelings are very much, the most vulnerable part of
Absolutely.
them. Yeah, and with Cancer Moon people also, I had a friend whose mother was that hands-on, very nurturing type, but I guess she had a bad past, in a
Mm.
way where when the kids were growing up, she maybe wasn't focusing on them too much. She was focusing on kind of like her personal life and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And it got stuck in the in my friend's head. And while she was trying to be super nurturing, constantly buying him clothes and buying him candy, and he wasn't even a kid anymore, but he always held that resentment because of the past, because she wasn't, I guess, a good mother in the past
Mm.
in his eyes, because she had a bad past, whatever. And I found that interesting, because sometimes we can have those nurturing mothers that try really hard, but if there is like a gap in that nurturing, the kid will remember it with Cancer Moon. So yeah, I thought
Mm.
that was very interesting. So the advice here would be what?
I think Cancer Moon child, it needs that emotional connection. It's not just about the material objects, because that's more Cancer, Taurus Moon.
Yeah,
They need that material security. But here with Cancer, there's the nurturing comes through emotions and like caring attitude, but not in a material sense, in an emotional sense.
right, right. Yeah, I would totally 100% agree with that. So let's move on to our favorite, Leo. It's interesting to hear your experiences on your Leo moon, because, we have the same sign, but
Mhm.
we have different aspects. Mine is very damaged. So, you know, how is your experience with Leo moon?
So, well, the first thing with Leo Moon is obviously the hair.
Yeah, you
The
don't have
hair
to be
plays,
Leo ascendant. You can be Leo moon, and
yeah,
you can have that Leo appearance, kind of. Yeah.
appearance, yes, definitely. So I think with Leo Moon wants to be special. I think they need this goal. They need this goal towards to work towards, because they want to, I think there's this sense of achievement with this placement. They want to feel special. They want to feel like they have done something in their life. They achieved something in their life. There's also a generosity here with this placement. Now, I think a lot of creativity as well, dancing, singing, getting involved in lots different events as well. I've always liked hosting and kind of entertaining and being surrounded by people. I didn't have that growing up. I had a very small social circle, but then in my early 20s, I created a very large group of friends, and it was like constant fun for a bit, for a few years. That basically that was that well, I filled up that gap, that kind of that missing element that I didn't have growing up. But otherwise, what else? Leo Moon wants, well, it's kind of hard to say even things, because obviously Leo wants to be adored as well in some way. Leo doesn't like to be ignored as well. How do you feel about, like, I really need that eye contact connection when someone kind of, when I meet people, I'm kind of, I introduce I really need that connection. And if someone kind of ignores, not that I need that attention, but I always kind of pay attention to people, and I make sure that there is that, I made a connection with everyone. And
Right.
sometimes you get some people who just kind of are not bothered, and this might
Right.
be a bit painful. The Moon in
Right.
Leo.
Yeah, I'm Pisces rising, so I'm used to being invisible. And people sometimes are like, "Oh, where did you come from? I didn't see you." It's always like that. But for my Leo moon, I love to feel special in relationships. If my partner, my romantic partner, does not make me feel special, I start getting, weird thoughts, but that's also because I have moon square Pluto exact. So
Mm.
I need that reassurance maybe that I am, special, that what things we do together are special, and it's funny because with my husband, he I've always wanted to go to a shooting range. Always, I've always like it was my dream to go to a shooting range. And my husband goes to a shooting range, and he was like, on our first date, we went to a shooting range, which I thought it was so cool. But then when I found out that, his previous relationships, they were also going to the shooting range, I was like, damn it, because like this is my first time. This is my special time. I went with you to the shooting range, but you've
Mm-hmm.
taken your exes to the shooting range as well, So that's just this like Leo moon thing, because we want to be the first, we want to be special, and
Yes.
yeah. But how did you see your mom with the Leo placement?
So yes, so my mom was a very different mom to my sister, because there is a 16 years gap. So I had a mom. My mom was very playful. My mom was very kind of, we had lots of, my mom had lots of friends. So we would have her friends with children visiting us over the weekends, and we would go and visit her friends. So there was always kind of music in the house, and kind of playfulness and guests. So she liked hosting and her friends and visiting also. Well, and actually, you know what you brought into my attention when we had that, we had a little kind of conversation the other day about, well, the mom being a bit of a drama.
Oh
And you
gosh.
know what? I actually, I was even talking about my mom about this yesterday. And actually, yes, my mom sometimes we can kind of under pressure, she can like, ooh, she might find it difficult to control her emotions. Everything kind of escalates to something larger. And I think that's that moon in Leo, definitely. That's that moon
Yeah.
in Leo. Yeah, but we have a fantastic connection. And yeah, so that's how I saw my mom, someone who was playful, who liked to entertain, someone who just enjoyed their life. Yeah, that's how I saw my mom.
Yeah,
Um,
same here. My mom, very creative, very playful. She would always make different dresses for me, dolls for me. The wreath right there on the wall, that's my mom. She made that for me.
oh wow.
Yeah, so she's like very creative. Definitely a drama queen. If she's not happy, nobody's happy because she bursts in these. But I mean, my moon is also in the sixth house, so there is that nervous system that's almost
Virgo
crazy.
archetype. Mm.
And so my mom it can be very dramatic if she's like arguing with you and stuff. And yeah, for sure. But for me, being a Leo moon, everybody's always like, well, Leo moon wants to be the center of attention. No, no, I would not say so. I just want to be acknowledged by the person that I care about.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's kind of.
I think that highly depends on your placements, because I'm Scorpio rising. So I like to kind of be behind the scene very often. But as you said, I want to be noticed, but not necessarily. I don't like to be the center of attention, because I'm
Oh,
rather on the
no.
shy mode. And
This right here, the Zoom meetings and the interviews are high anxiety for me.
Mhm.
But I'm getting out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
So yeah,
And yeah,
yeah, go
good.
ahead.
That's good. It's a good exercise, isn't it, as well, to kind of
Yes,
improve yourself.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Considering that I've been bombarded by Saturn and Uranus to my moon, the aspects to my moon,
Yeah.
I have to do something about it. What advice would you give to Leo moon people?
Well, I think that when it comes to the child, make sure the child is noticed. So, for example, if the child wants you to see how they perform a certain activity, or if they are at home, please, mom, look at me, because oftentimes the children like to kind of show off some poses or the way they dance. Give that attention to the child. Make sure that you make the child feel noticed. This is the same with the moon in the fifth house, because that's my daughter's placement. She's the moon in the 5th house in Libra, but there's definitely always that, please look at me, look at me. So kind of giving that child that attention, making sure that you notice and maybe comment and yes. So I think that's one of the elements that I would kind of implement into the parenting style, but also teaching the child to be generous, to be warm as well with others.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Warm-hearted.
Yeah. Okay, so Virgo Moon, what do you think? How does that relate to kids and to people overall?
So Virgo Moon, that's my sister's Virgo Moon. That's my sister's placement. And I think, so even though Virgo is about being organized, being neat and tidy, sometimes there could be a struggle with being organized growing up with this placement. Yeah. So I think the mother might put a lot of emphasis of kind of of teaching the child kind of some kind of life structure or a routine. I think that's some of the goals, I think, of this placement. But also with this placement, the mother often plays a big role on the food, on the nutrition, a lot.
You're right.
Because yes, absolutely nutrition, because my mom is so healthy now. When I was a child, we had healthy meals, but that wasn't the main, like the food. No, the food was healthy and everything, but my mom now is obsessed with the food, all the cuisine. She's Taurus Sun, but here I think the Virgo Moon mother is very much concerned about the child's nutrition, well-being, health. But also Virgo is the sign of the traditional ruler of the 6th house, which is connected to hard work. So also the mother is someone who works hard, who have strong work ethics as well. Yes. What do you think? Because that's your son's placement, isn't it?
Would you say that communication is also very important for this placement, just like Gemini Moon? Would you agree with that?
Yes, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so that's definitely that. But that's perhaps the parent might play a big role, but so I think the child is usually, definitely. I met quite a few Virgos, and usually they are good communicators.
Yes. And they can be, they can be a little bit critical. They can be a little bit nitpicky. I have a friend with, Virgo Moon. While she saw her mother, in a very good light, someone organized, someone that provided for her. She herself is very, like, she will, she'll go to your home, she will notice everything there, what's clean and what's not, according to how she likes it. And because like my friend had tenants, she was renting out her house to tenants, and oh gosh, she was going through every detail. I'm like, just let these people be, And so they can be that way, but overall, they're pretty intellectual, I would say. And
absolutely, yes.
So what advice would you give a mother with a Virgo Moon child like me? What would you recommend them?
So I think that definitely Virgo is very analytical as well, very analytical and very disciplined. Virgo can be very disciplined when it comes to studying, learning, even though there could be a certain degree of chaos or difficulty to kind of be organized at some point in early life. But overall, Virgo Moon is a hardworking moon placement.
Right.
Hardworking moon placement. And I think what the Virgo Moon enjoys is perhaps pay attention to the activities of the child, because here, so with their analytical mind, they might really enjoy working with detail. Pay attention to working with detail and this sort of things, but also I think teaching the child to be organized and about tidiness and neatness and good nutrition. They will really enjoy that. They will really be interested in that.
Yeah, for
And maybe
sure.
get your child involved in cleaning as well, helping you to clean, because also Virgo is very much connected to clean and tidy environments. So they might actually enjoy helping you with
Like
some
look,
household
clean garden.
duties.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I I can't wait until he's a little bit older so we can like work in the garden together, in the backyard, or like
Yes.
cook together, make like cookies together or something like that. I cannot wait. Yeah, for sure.
Actually, Virgo Moon might also really enjoy puzzles or Lego, because these are all
Yeah.
these little pieces to put together and activities that generally stimulate their minds. They will
Yeah,
also
I had
enjoy that.
Legos too. My mom is a Gemini Moon. She put me through all these different Legos and puzzles, and yeah, and my son. Yeah, I cannot wait because like right now it's choking hazards, so I can't.
Yes. But
So
because Virgo, yes, sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, because Virgo Moon might be also very sensitive, and it might be difficult for them to deal with their emotions. So also kind of having these activities in place might also kind of make them feel relaxed and kind of get rid of these stressful energies as well.
Yeah,
So even playing cards or Uno, Uno is nice
yeah,
with
yeah,
children. So that's also kind of these activities might be really beneficial for them.
yeah,
All
for
right. So
sure,
that's,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, Libra, Libra Moon. What do we have to say about that one? You also are very familiar with Libra Moon.
Yes. So Libra Moon is a sign that needs to be, I think, needs a partner,
Yeah.
because Libra is the sign of relationship. So almost feels like the Libra Moon doesn't really like to be alone, likes to partner with another, likes to have that kind of best friend. And oftentimes, the Libra Moon might prefer to have that one close relationships, because this is the sign traditionally connected to the seventh house. It's about one-to-one relationship. So having this best friend in place during childhood might be really strongly desired. And that's, my daughter actually has a best friend, and she's prefers like small groups, and she's got that really strong friendship, and it's really important for her. But also with this moon placement, they might enjoy doing things together with another, or playing games, more than just doing things on their own. Now here independence, they might struggle with independence, because they might fall into codependency. So I think one of the things to teach the child is to how to be independent, how to dress themselves, how to feed themselves. All these little things might be some crucial lessons during the upbringing, because they might want the mom to do this for them, or do it together. But it's really important for them to learn that independence, so that they can cope in the later years of life. Obviously, I'm not talking about adulthood, but here about teenage age.
Yeah, yeah. How do you think they view their mom?
So they view their mom as someone who pays attention to harmonious environments and relationships as well. Now, something for the mom to pay attention to is not to become kind of detached, or focus too much on their own things. So that's some of the tendencies to kind of watch out for. But otherwise, the moon here in Libra, this is also about the mom might also pay attention to kind of beauty and art, creativity. So I really enjoy doing, like, whenever we go on holiday, I really enjoy exploring the area, taking my children to the castles, museums. And so I think opening up opening them up into creative or artistic experiences, like
Right.
visiting castles, palaces, things like this. That's
Pretty,
also, yeah.
pretty things, pretty surroundings. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
pretty surroundings, exactly. And I think, now that I'm talking about this, we do it all the time, because I really love visiting old places and castles and beautiful fields. And so we do that a lot with
I mean, in Europe, it's
them.
like it's so accessible too in Europe. Yeah. Oh gosh, it's amazing.
Yes,
Um,
so it's we actually went to a butterfly kind of place last weekend, and she really, really loved it.
oh yeah.
So I think that because they were so beautiful, these butterflies, they were large and blue and white. So I think she was surrounded by beauty and she loved it. So I think that's
Oh.
also kind of stimulates that Libra Moon, being surrounded by beauty, by peaceful environments.
And they're probably they don't like injustice, right? Because I mean, Libra is
Absolutely.
justice, and they will probably stand up for someone, you know, or they will defend themselves if they don't
Mm.
think that something is just. Um,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. Absolutely.
So since Libra is like a balance, like a scale, what advice would you give people with displacement or mothers with the child's placement?
Um,
Because it's like it's hard to balance stuff out sometimes. Um,
Well, it's difficult actually it's difficult to balance the emotions. So the emotional side of psyche might be slightly challenging to cope with. Obviously, it depends on many other placements, but I think yes. So I think learning to teaching the child how to balance their emotions.
right,
That's actually quite tricky because there could be this emotional imbalance that
right,
takes place.
right. Well, now let's move on to Scorpio Moon. This one is interesting, very, very interesting. What do you
Mm.
have to say about this one?
Well, Scorpio moons, I've got quite a lot of Scorpio in my own chart because Scorpio rising and eighth house stellium. But here, Scorpio moon, I know actually one child with Scorpio moon, and they are they can be very secretive, mysterious. But this also kind of when you think the moon in Scorpio, this also kind of make you think about the mom. Perhaps the mom was secretive or attracted to mysterious and hidden paranormal kind of topics,
Or maybe like
metaphysics,
metaphysical, you know,
metaphysical, yes, metaphysical, or even astrology, tarot, all sort of occult, yes,
yeah.
occult, yeah.
Hmm.
Now here the moon in Scorpio might be very intense, might be also kind of experience all sort of kind of events in their life on a very deep and intense level, but at the same time they might make this very intense emotional impression on others, especially on people who don't have these deep energies in their charts. They don't have any Scorpio or karmic placements, so especially for these people they might be come across as quite overwhelming even, with their emotional states. And yes, I think at times they might growing up, they might even feel overwhelmed with their own emotions because they kind of experience everything so deeply and profoundly that not everyone will understand that.
Right, right. They definitely hold grudges, you know.
Yes.
They're also, yeah, I think that they're so intuitive. And like you said, they sometimes don't even understand that, you know, until they grow up and kind of start researching into it. I'm sure that they have a lot of paranormal experiences growing up
Mm,
as well. And sometimes, maybe, you know, not all, obviously, but some
yes.
addictions here and there, you know,
Oh,
um, like an addictive kind of personality. It doesn't have
yes.
to be drugs, it doesn't have to be alcohol, you know, it doesn't have to be something bad, but it's just like fixation on something possibly. And Scorpio moon moms, they are also very complex personalities.
Mm,
And yeah, I know a couple people with displacement, and they have good relationships with their mothers, but there is definitely something in the childhood that's involved with secrets, like you said, some hidden
mm.
information,
Oh, yes.
esoteric stuff, you know, metaphysical stuff, addictions, you know, in the family and things like that. Yeah, but I think that displacements is also very powerful because the person with displacement, they can really see through people. You know, they see through people, they feel other people's emotions in a very unique way,
Mhm.
something that maybe other signs can't really do. And I feel like that helps them throughout life. Of course, they can use this as a tactic of manipulation, but I believe that they can also use it to their benefit, you know. So yeah, what advice would you give to a mother with a child with Scorpio moon?
So I think also obsession.
Obsession.
That's also something maybe fixated with an idea, with some kind of hobby. But here with the Scorpio moon, it's important not to fall into the negative side of Scorpio. So manipulation, or over kind of becoming overly controlling with your child. So
Control.
kind of yes, controlling. So it's kind of I think the mother with a child who's got the moon in Scorpio needs to kind of be aware of these tendencies, because they might show up even unconsciously, these
Just like
controlling
Pluto
or
Moon
obsessive.
aspects too,
Exactly.
Pluto squaring Moon, Pluto opposing Moon, even trining Moon.
Mm.
I feel like,
There's that plutonic influence. So I think that's something to really pay attention to, not to kind of become overly obsessed, overly controlling, or perhaps overly kind of not overly, but it's like not to try to kind of overpower your child.
right,
That's
exactly.
So that's some of the extremes, but also it's important to be aware of the positive and the negative.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. What about Sagittarius?
Well, when I think of Sagittarius, I think about foreign places, foreign people. Perhaps some part of kind of childhood might have been either connected to foreign places, or perhaps the upbringing was in a different place to the place of birth, or perhaps one of the parents was from a foreign place, or perhaps there was a lot of foreign travel throughout childhood. But generally, there's this strong need for freedom, independence, adventure, new experiences, even maybe languages. There could be interest in languages, philosophy, and higher learning. I think there could be also kind of hunger for knowledge, accumulating knowledge, expanding your wisdom. And I think people with displacement find the emotional kind of nurturing when they study, when they learn, when they expand their minds.
Right, right. And you have your moon in the ninth house, right? Which is similar to
Yes.
Aries Moon. So have you ever studied different religions, or like?
I've actually never been into any religion since I was a
Okay.
child. I was raised as a Catholic, but I was never interested in any religion. I've always had I'm quite rebellious, actually. I don't know. I've never been interested in any religion. I always had my own view. And now I'm into spirituality. That's where I found myself. I connect to
Right.
spirituality, astrology. It makes sense to me. I love it. I'm fully connected. But yes, so I'm spirituality. That's what kind of I believe in. I enjoy, and I feel strong connection to. But otherwise, I've never been interested in any religions. However, I love studying. I think I've always
There you go, ninth house.
study and languages. So I'm an eternal student because I always study something. So that's definitely that. I enjoy studying. It kind of excites me, and
Right.
connecting with people from all over the world. So that's the foreign. And obviously I also grew up in a foreign country, and I live in a foreign country, so definitely the foreign aspect was throughout the whole of my life. So that's, you see, the moon in Sagittarius, or the moon in the ninth house. This is a similar theme as you mentioned.
So yeah, and I feel like Moon and Sagittarius people, they are generally very optimistic. They are the
Absolutely.
optimists. Yes, but just like Leos, Leo can be playful and creative with good aspects, with negative aspects not so much. Same goes for Moon and Sagittarius. I feel like it can be very much out there, or it can be not so optimistic depending on the aspects. Yeah. So how do you think they view their mom?
Well, I see they view their mom as someone who enjoys their freedom and independence, someone who enjoys traveling, and someone who is adventurous as well. And here for the child, I think it's important to let the child experience or sort of new experiences that will help them to understand themselves better, and also to kind of understand their purpose, because here the ninth house is also about the life purpose, life mission. But also, so I think the child will also enjoy kind of getting involved in new experiences, adventure, things that kind of increase their adrenaline. And yeah, and I think learning will also play an important role. Books, exposure to something wider, something larger than life, not
Bigger
just the
picture.
mundane. Yes, not just the mundane and practical things.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Now, what about Capricorn Moon, Justyna? What do you have to say about that?
So Capricorn Moon, when we think about Capricorn, this is about status. So I think people with the moon in Capricorn will have a great sense of responsibility, but also the status. So the sense of achievement, having a goal, and so on will play a very important role in their life. So they will
From early childhood too.
Yes, early childhood, definitely. So here, I think oftentimes children with the moon in Capricorn, their mother is slightly older because Saturn is connected to old age. So usually the mom might be, in her late 30s or early 40s. Oftentimes this is the case. So this is a mature and a responsible woman. So here with the moon in Gemini, this could be a young mom.
Yeah.
But with the moon in Capricorn, this is a very different energy, a mature, a responsible, it may be even career-oriented woman, someone who is also perhaps status oriented, and she wants to teach the child about the world, about how the life is structured. This is not about the child with displacement might also experience discipline, because obviously discipline growing up. Now here with Capricorn influence, there could be also might not apply to everyone, but there could be also kind of a little bit of loneliness attached to displacement. Here, Saturn in the first house, moon in Capricorn. This is often connected to loneliness growing up.
Yeah, and like trying to find yourself too in some way in this world, in this reality that you were exposed to from an early age. I have someone I know. They have a Capricorn moon. The moon is in the 12th house, and Saturn is in the first house. And I wondered, because I know that family very well. It's my husband's family connections, and I knew the family very well. So I'm like, I wonder how the relationship with mom is, because in fact, it's actually, they have a very good relationship, a very healthy relationship. He's nurtured, everything is good. So I wonder, sometimes people have kids with Capricorn moons and they're afraid that their child is not going to see them as nurturing, is not going to see them as loving, that they're going to feel lonely. It's not always the case. There may be very complex psychology to the person, to the child, complex emotions, certain maybe things that may have been happening throughout life that they're focused on and they are healing from, or maybe not healing from, whatever, but it's not always about that clash with a mother figure, because when I see people having those placements, I imagine a certain mother, but then when I see the mother, I'm like, oh, so it's not really that intimidating, it's not really bad. So because I know that a lot of people, they worry about their children having either a Scorpio moon or a Capricorn moon, but.
So with Capricorn here, this is the sign that's opposite Cancer. Cancer is very emotional, emotions are out there. And with Capricorn, the emotions are often controlled or repressed, kept inside. So I think what the child might also struggle with is to express their emotions because they might be repressed. So I think the goal for the parent is to help the child to understand their emotions or express their emotions with more ease, because even the parent might struggle with their own emotions. And that's why the moon in Capricorn might be someone who is maybe emotionally cold, or perhaps someone who struggles with expressing themselves. and they might feel uncomfortable being emotional because perhaps that wasn't developed in their upbringing. So perhaps it's something to kind of pay attention to when with the child with the moon in Capricorn, to help them to kind of deal or express their emotions with more ease, or with feeling comfortable about their feelings, their emotions, having this emotional understanding with your child.
Yeah, and because they're so serious, they're like these little adults, you know, when they are not always, obviously, but something sometimes triggers them in their life where they release that grip on their emotions, you know, similar to, I guess, Saturn Moon placements. They might be very shy too.
Yes, shy, or perhaps they might struggle with self-esteem as well, which which will they will have to work on, or perhaps the parents needs to encourage that and build that self-esteem, that motivation in their child, because they might struggle with self-esteem, self-worth, or being shy. Now they might also grow up with a lot of adults, so there could be this very quick emotional maturity as a result of being surrounded by adults in their childhood. So perhaps there isn't that many children in the family, or perhaps so that could also be the case, and the child
they have to take care of the younger children, you know.
Yes,
they have to babysit all the time, and instead of going and playing with friends.
Yes.
All right, so what about Aquarius Moon?
All right, so Aquarius Moon, yes, well, when we think about Aquarius, we think about also justice and humanitarian matters, but Moon in Aquarius might be emotionally detached, might also kind of prefer to follow their rational mind rather than their instincts or their intuition. Oftentimes, because here this is an air sign, it's all about the intellect here with this placement. Now it obviously depends on many other placements, but that's what the Moon in Aquarius could manifest. But here with this placement, there is also interest, I think, in technology. In technology, in the future, in media. So perhaps the parents or the mother might be someone who works in IT or in the media advertising industry, or perhaps there were lots of gadgets at home during the childhood. There could be like with the Moon in the Gemini, you know, the books, the magazines, and here Aquarius is about the future, about technology, media. So that's something that could be prominent in this person's, the childhood.
Right. And not a very strong emotional connection with a mother, maybe, but they are okay with it. They seem to be okay with that because they are themselves emotionally kind of detached, and they are attracted to all the weird stuff, all the, you know, those can have like hippie moms as well, you know, because like moms are kind of out of the ordinary in some way.
It's true, out of the ordinary, yes.
Yeah, they can have some interesting
parenting style.
Like hobbies, interests that are unique, maybe. And I feel like Aquarius Moon is a free spirit. And I do have a client that I work with a lot, and she's a Cancer Sun and Aquarius Moon. So Cancer wants, you know, to have like a partnership and like a family and all that, you know, warmth, nurturing. And her Aquarius Moon is like always afraid to commit, you know. She's always afraid to commit to people, always afraid, not even afraid. It's just that, you know, I would say, I guess maybe, Moon and Aquarius could be afraid of commitment in some way, right? To like attach to something. So what advice would you give Aquarius Moons?
So, you know, because they find it difficult to commit, as you said, because they want their freedom. So I think allowing your child to be kind of free to a certain extent, because I think they will struggle if they are overly restricted, if you limit their freedom. I'm not, to a certain extent.
Their social
So here,
circle too, I
very
think.
social, very, you can, they can mix and blend with different different people, not necessarily maybe connect strongly to one particular individual, but I think letting them explore, letting them socialize and meet other children, other mates, and blend with other children. But also, yes, I think they need this sense of freedom, independence. They want to be free. Aquarius, Uranus, these energies don't like to be restricted. These are not, this is not, Saturn brings limitation, restriction. When we have Uranus and Saturn square, this is about, breaking away. So here, Moon in Uranus, Moon in Aquarius.
Still can't break away with that Uranus Saturn square that's been ongoing. Gosh.
Oh, and we have another one coming up. Well, it won't be exact, but the energies. And here we've got, the COVID coming back. But anyway, so here Moon in Aquarius wants to be free, doesn't want to be restricted. So here I think this element of freedom will be very important. Otherwise, they might be emotionally dissatisfied if they are overly restricted. Perhaps let them choose their activities or their things that they want to try, or if they want to play football or tennis, or so if they want, kind of without forcing anything. I think that's the key, without forcing anything. Let them give them some,
just like with Taurus too. Don't push Taurus moons.
Oh yes, definitely.
Don't push Aquarius moons. And also maybe to not restrict their social circle. Let them have friends, let them have those experiences with people, mistakes with people, whatever they need to learn. It's their own kind of personal journey,
Absolutely. And that's how they learn about themselves as well. They grow
through people. Oh, last one, Pisces Moon.
I don't actually know any Pisces Moon. I don't think I know. And I know Pisces Sun, but Pisces Moon, well, all I can think of is very creative, very imaginative as well, perhaps a daydreamer, and someone who might be kind of, might have their own fantasy world as well, because oftentimes this Piscean energy, they are like fairies, They're like fairies. They like to run away into their imaginary world or have their imaginary friend. So perhaps a child with displacement might have their imaginary friends. And, that's okay, because that's their imagination. They are full of ideas. So I think that creativity plays a very important role. And they feel emotionally content and satisfied and fulfilled when they are creative, when they can just draw, paint, build things from blocks or Play-Doh, things like this. So I think this element of creativity really helps them to expand their imagination, because Pisces is a very imaginative sign. So that's will play a very very important role. But I think something that really is important to teach the child with displacement is to teach the child about boundaries, because here with Pisces, yes, Pisces or Neptune, it dissolves the boundaries that Saturn might create. So I think teaching the child healthy boundaries, how healthy boundaries or bubbles, that's really something. Like my daughter has a stellium in the 12th house that's traditionally connected to Pisces. And for a period of time, though, she struggled with boundaries. So, the bubble, the comfort zone, when you kind of step into close, you kind of you might make the other person slightly, you are in their bubble. So so that's, I remember we were kind of they were educating them at school about it, but I was also kind of we were doing activities, and so I think setting these boundaries will be very important as well with displacement.
I agree, because Pisces Moon, they're kind of like Cancer Moon, that they soak up other people's energies so easily, and they start feeling their emotions, and it gets very messy and very painful sometimes for them. So they need to set those boundaries with people that try to kind of prey on them almost in a way, and I mean, I have Pisces rising, but I feel those energies strongly as well. Like I had Pisces Moon, they do zone out a lot. Like they do, like you said, that imaginary world, they do zone out, they do kind of just, I can do it so easily, you know, it's but also, you know, it's the Gemini energy, the mutable energy kind of, you know,
Yes.
just snap out of it, you know, so easily. And they can attract people that could take advantage of them, unfortunately, because of that lack of boundaries. Yeah, but they're very intuitive. They are, they're possibly prone to some psychological issues, to maybe depression sometimes, obviously, because the moon is so vulnerable there with Pisces and lack of boundaries. But how would they view their mom, you think, through the Pisces?
Pisces Moon would view their mom as someone, well, I think someone very creative, imaginative, someone who might also be romantic or enjoy romantic movies or poetry, or, you know, do kind of things connected to the water. There could be the water element as well. So
Foreign
perhaps
too, you know, foreign mom, maybe because the 12th house, you know, far
oh
away.
yes, a foreign mom. Yes, a foreign mom. And yes, so that's definitely that, the foreign mom, but also perhaps a mom who also kind of so that's what I think. It's someone who
Mom with
is definitely
addictions.
creative. You know, I wanted to say that, but I was kind of I wasn't sure if I'm supposed to, but yes, a mother who might be have problems with drinking, and that could also be the case.
Liquids, right?
Liquids,
and also,
yes,
and maybe some psychological issues too.
oh, okay. Psychological issues, yes, could be, definitely, absolutely, yes.
Well,
Anxiety,
you know,
or mental health,
kind
yes,
of,
mental health,
yeah, mental health can be, so I think we are done. We're wrapped up all the 12 signs. And
fantastic.
yeah, Justyna, it was really nice having you on this channel. How can my audience find you?
Thank you so much for this amazing collaboration. It was really great to meet you. We've been kind of corresponding for a few weeks and getting to know each other, our placements, and so we had a really nice connection. So it was really great to kind of create a video together. So I also have a YouTube channel. It's Justyna Rossi, and I also have an Instagram, which is exactly the same name. So you can find me there if you wish.
Yeah.
So
and
thank you so much.
You offer personal readings as well, right? Through your website.
Yes, I also offer live consultations or pre-recorded readings or written reports. And yes, so that's also available on my website. That's justynarossi.com. Okay. So that's all available.
Perfect. Okay, well, I will link all the information down in the description box so you can find Justyna. Justyna, thank you so much for this beautiful video. I hope we'll have a lot more videos to come.
Absolutely. And, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you, and all the best.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. I'll see you in my next video.